Hello, everyone, and welcome to the ninth episode of Seattle Baseline Podcast. My name is Julian Smith, and I'm with Isaac Bruce. Isaac, it's been like 1 or 2 weeks since the end of the school year, where we're back here in the Seattle area, Washington State. How do you feel right now?
Cold, cold. It's been rather rainy the last couple days. Quite the drastic change from the Phoenix Sun, but it's good to be back. How about you, Julian?
Yeah, I'm kind of used to this cold right now
Yep,
because Pennsylvania was really cold.
yep.
It's it's actually I wonder. I feel like it must be colder in Pennsylvania than it is in the
Mm-hmm.
Seattle area. Um, my parents were talking to me all about the sun in
Mm-hmm.
April, and then I come back here in May, and all of a sudden it's like, wow, rainy every day.
Yep,
It's
pretty
like this
much. Pretty
this is the
much.
Seattle I know. It's like there's a reason why it's SEA, right?
Yep.
Seattle, Sea of
Yep.
Water.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
Yeah. It's been funny though. Like
Yes.
I've come back here. I didn't take my golf clubs to college this time,
Okay.
so it's been nice to get out on the golf course again, work with my buddies, and um, we should definitely go out there golfing sometime.
Sir.
But today we've got a rather, I don't know if this is a sad topic. It's definitely a I guess it's like reassurance.
Yep.
Bryce Miller's on the 15-day IL,
Correct.
set to come back in 2 weeks. We can put a lot of injury names to his injured list, which includes mental health. But I think he's going to come back stronger.
Yep.
What do you think?
Um, Bryce Miller on the 15-day IL with right elbow inflammation. It's certainly something that we don't love to see. It's never good to see someone go on the IL, but for Bryce Miller, I think it was important. As we kind of touched on last week, he's been struggling, and it's been obvious that he's dealing with something. Obviously, no idea what that is, and no idea to what level he's hurting, but it's pretty clear. Oh, yes, sir, yes, sir. It's pretty clear that he's not comfortable out there. So it's good that he's going to get 2 weeks off. Hopefully, be able to come back with um with that full Bryce Miller effect that we've seen last season when he was really dominating. We know he can do that, and so hopefully he can bounce back um, and be a key part of this pitching staff for the rest of the season.
Yeah. And Bryce Miller, when he first started with the Mariners, he was a fastball slider guy, and his best pitch was the fastball.
Yeah.
I think this season he comes out and he really just can't locate his fastball. His best strike pitch so far has been the splitter,
Yep.
and I don't think his slider is getting much swing and miss. He can be out there, and obviously using the splitter, he can go out there and get some outs. But it's really hard when you don't have a fastball that works with the splitter, because the splitter and the fastball are basically the same, like, throwing techniques.
Yep.
And so to
Yep.
have those and to have the hitters guessing which one it is, that's a really big thing for Bryce Miller. That's what works for Logan Gilbert as well.
Correct.
And so I think Bryce Miller, he can just come back 15 days, refresh his mind, refresh his body, just get back out there and perform well.
Absolutely. Uh, Great note on the splitter. It's Bryce Miller lives and dies off his ability to pitch tunnel. Um, and that's it. It makes his splitter more deceptive. It makes his slider more deceptive. Um, but when you can't locate that fastball, it's just difficult to tunnel that splitter down into the bottom of the zone because he's been throwing a lot of fastballs down in the zone, and when he does, he gets smacked around because frankly, that fastball isn't incredibly hard, right? It's only 95, 96, but it its spin efficiency and its ability to kind of ride into the top of the strike zone is what makes it so good. And so when you throw that low in the zone, it can actually be more of a curse than a benefit, that ride. So yeah, we'll see. I'm excited to see Bryce Miller back.
Yeah. And speaking of injuries, George Kirby made his third rehab start,
Yep.
and he's set to come back for the Astros series.
Okay.
One thing that's impressed me, I didn't think that George Kirby was much of a um like fast velocity fastball guy.
Yep.
He's been showing 97, 98.
Okay.
So
Yep.
it's been really good. I think last year what got him is the secondaries though.
Yep.
Hopefully that slider gets a little bit more work and then he can strike some hitters out using
Yep.
that swing and miss. That's something that because he throws it a lot in the zone and because he's able to control the zone, now he has to figure out a way to not get fouled off because strike one, strike two, foul, 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 home run is not the recipe to success.
Correct. Correct, Julian. Um, in the absence of of three of our four best pitchers, many would argue coming into this season, um, the I don't know how to phrase it. I'll call them the substitute pitchers, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
If you follow what I'm saying there, Julian, they have come in and been, they were certainly shaky to start. Right, Emerson Hancock's ERA is still in the sixes, kind of recovering from those first two starts. But of late, they have been good. Obviously, beating a Padres team with Logan Evans and Emerson Hancock, a Padres team that has been as good as the Dodgers, as good as anyone in baseball this season, coming into this weekend, is certainly a big win for the Mariners. Um, and it's been a testament to their ability to pitch in tough situations. Both of them have allowed 6+ hits in those starts and have combined to allow 1 run in those 10 innings, 10 some odd innings of work, which is very impressive. They've allowed hits, they've allowed runners, but they've held strong, been able to be tough in those situations and shut the Padres down for the most part, which has been something that not a whole lot of teams have been able to do this season.
Yeah. I think the part that impressed me the most was Emerson Hancock. And I think it was the second inning. He had second and third with one out. Uh, Somebody in the Padres lineup, knowing the Padres, could have easily hit a sac fly.
Right.
Emerson Hancock goes in and strikes out two in a row.
Yep.
And I think that's where you've got, I think it comes to show the sense of urgency that this team has,
Yeah.
knowing that this pitching staff is the cornerstone of the team. And it's, it was cool to see because I think the velocity from Emerson Hancock and Logan Evans both went up by a few ticks.
Yeah.
I think they're a little more comfortable being in those situations. And um, credit where credit's due, the defense was also really good. The infield defense, along with Julio's like home run robbery against the Yankees the other day,
Absolutely.
like everything that Julio's been doing, just it adds up. It
Uh-huh.
saves a run every single time. So I think that's we've been doing really good because Logan Evans and Emerson Hancock can hold up their end whenever they have pressure on them. And I think that comes from how comfortable they are on the mound, especially given the amount of times they've been on the mound this year.
Correct. Correct. And if God forbid there's any injuries down the stretch, it's good to have guys that have experience at the major league level this season, right? That are already comfortable out there on the mound. So, when we have to play the Dodgers at home the last series of the season, if we need a start from a guy that maybe isn't in our ideal starting five, and we kind of need an Emerson Hancock or a Logan Evans start to, whether that's sneak into the playoffs or seal the division win, whatever that may be, it's good that we have experience from those guys. Um, Moving to the other side of the baseball, Julian, the offense. Mariners offense, heard an interesting stat on the broadcast yesterday. We score the second highest percentage of our runs off of the home run, only trailing the Angels in that category. So, Julian, what are your immediate thoughts when you hear that stat? Do you think that's a good thing? Do you think that's a bad thing? What's your take on that?
Okay, so firstly, this one's not about the Mariners, but how in the world are the Angels number one in home runs? They don't even have Mike Trout anymore. Mike
Yes,
Trout's
no.
injured. Is it
It's
Jorge Soler? Is it
it's
like,
it's probably because they score so little runs that the percentage of home runs they or the percentage of runs they do score are probably off of the home run. I don't even know who the Angels leader in home runs is, but hey, they've actually had some guys that aren't big names contribute a lot. We saw that early to start the season as they were leading the division early. They came out hot. But yes,
yeah.
yeah,
And I think I guess when I look at the Angels lineup, there are a bunch of home run hitters starting with like Joe Adell and Zach Neto, I think just hit a home run, right?
yep,
And so I think they're pretty good. But moving
yep.
on to the Mariners, we're not an Angels podcast, we're a
No,
Mariners podcast.
no, we do not like
So
the Angels.
um I think yeah, we look at the home run stat and Cal Raleigh, second place with Aaron Judge with 15 home runs right now. Um, just awesome. Um,
Mm-hmm.
sorry, I know I'm saying a lot, but I'm just thinking here. The the Mariners this year have a team that I think is stacked with people that can hit the home run.
Mm-hmm.
We have less of the Luis Arias type that goes and hits the single, single, single. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's what Victor Robles was last year. And more of the even the leadoff hitter, JP Crawford, goes and crushes the first pitch against the Padres. The Because we're a team that can walk. The bottom third of our lineup in the last week or so hasn't been as much, but they can walk, they can like hit for just first base every time. And I think when we have that, and then we can score the home run the way that Rowdy Tellez and Cal Raleigh are, we can just score a lot of runs. And so I really like the way our offense is right now. I think consistency wise in clutch situations, how many times are we going to hit that long ball?
Yep.
It's up for grabs, but I think it's a well balanced team because we have the home run hitters in Cal Raleigh, Julio Rodriguez, Randy Arozarena, JP Crawford, and then Rowdy Tellez. And then you've got Dylan Moore, Leo Rivas, and Miles Mastroboni. Miles Mastroboni, not so much, but Dylan Moore and Leo Rivas have been getting on base a ton. And
Yep.
so those guys being at the bottom of the lineup really helps our lineup.
I agree. I agree. You know, I'm not as big of a fan of the walk home run offense. We've seen it in Seattle over the last 3 or 4 years. And it has really been what has led us to missing the playoffs the last couple of seasons, in my opinion. Um, the season that we almost made the playoffs, we didn't have enough home runs. I'm referring to, I believe that would be 2021, that we did not have enough home runs. That was the year that it was just chaos ball. There was no long ball. It was just get runners in, craziness occurs, and then we score. And that wasn't quite consistent enough because it relied on a lot of luck, frankly. And so that wasn't an example of a good offense either. But I think these last 2 years we've been too dependent on the home run. And that is not a good offense. Being dependent on the home run is not good because, frankly, it's it's inconsistent, right?
Mm.
Cal Raleigh has 15 home runs this year. In how many at bats, right? Cal Raleigh, great hitter. He's clearly one of the most potent home run hitters in the league, and he still doesn't hit a home run anywhere near to once every 2 games, right? Like that just doesn't happen, right? With the exception of some guys in some stretches, right? For a week, Cal Raleigh might hit a home run every 2 days, but that can't happen over a full season. I just don't think it's going to be a consistent offense, and frankly, I think it's going to be why we blow this division lead is our offense is just not going to score.
So I have a counter argument against that.
Okay.
I think the home runs are why the Mariners offense has been good is because the whenever we hit a home run, other than Cal Raleigh, who has enough power to drive it out of any ballpark, we're squaring it up.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that comes to show how well we're seeing the ball. I think if we're going to go back to the Angels here, but the Angels aren't scoring enough runs because they only hit the home run. And I think there's a key difference where the Angels strikeout rate has been pretty high versus this is kind of the reason why and I'm not saying this trade was good, but it was the reason why the Mariners traded Eugenio Suarez away was
Yeah,
because the strikeout rate compared to the power rate, they deemed it to be a factor of being not successful.
correct.
I think when we have an offense that strikes out but hits the home run, then we have a problem. But this year, what we've seen is a lot of walks, a lot of base hits, and we're hitting the home runs to get them back in. The home run is part of the tool, part of the big offensive tool that we have instead of being the tool, if that makes sense.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I understand that to a degree. I think we both agree that the Mariners, um, so far this season have had stretches where they've been really hot with runners in scoring position, and they've had stretches where they've been very cold with runners in scoring position, and that has actually been the determiner of winning series. Has been not the home run, right? The home run's been a big part of the offense, as we obviously just discussed, but the offense has been at its best when we're getting hits with runners in scoring position. It's pretty simple, right? That's the easiest way to score a run is hit a single with a guy on third. That's going to score a run 100% of the time, right? Um, and that's really what I want to see more of out of the Mariners offense is the ability to get a guy on, get a guy over, get a guy in, right? It's been kind of a struggle to see that this season. Instead, it's get a guy on, get a guy over, strikeout, inning over. Um, which is frustrating, right? Because we've had opportunities for sack flies or for bunts or for situational hitting. And instead, what we've seen is guys go up there and try and hit the ball 500 feet and strike out.
Hmm.
Sometimes, right? But no, I mean, for the most part, the Mariners offense has obviously been above expectations this season. Maybe the third and fourth weeks of the season have inflated my expectations of the offense too much. Maybe I am being a little bit hard on the Mariners offense, which has been good this season, um but yeah.
I think we look at the Mariners stats and I have it pulled up right here. Home runs, Cal Raleigh 15, Jorge Polanco 10, Rowdy Tellez 8, Dylan Moore 7, Julio Rodriguez 7, and then list goes on and on with Randy, JP, Luke Raley, Ryan Bliss. I think what happened here is because we're hitting a lot of home runs, I have a feeling that the pitchers are kind of afraid of pitching to the Mariners because at any point, because the Mariners pitching staff, especially in the last 2 days, have been almost lights out. If the long ball comes out from the Mariners, if you're facing Cal Raleigh and you're at a 0-0 game, probably in like the sixth inning, you're afraid to pitch to Cal Raleigh because this guy could at any point unleash the long ball. And I think that's where the walks come from. I think it's all correlation here, where you have a bunch of like deadly hitters that can crush you at any point of the game. And therefore, you're not comfortable pitching to these guys. I think that's where the Mariners offense is doing good is not because we're seeing the ball well, we're like hitting the home run, not just that. It's because the other pitchers are afraid to pitch to the Mariners because of how much we hit the home run and how much we can get on base with that.
Fair enough.
That's yeah.
Fair enough. Great closing thoughts there, Julian. That's all for this week, folks, on the Seattle Baseline podcast. I hope you have a great week and go Mariners.
Go Mariners.